Higher education should be our goal. Excellence in higher education should be achievable. But what we're getting is a creep towards higher indoctrination.
1 year after leading the charge to chop the higher education budgets by $2.5 million, Representative Ron Nate from Rexburg was at it again on the House floor today. This was 2 weeks after Representative Nate tried to cut another $1.3 million from U of I, ISU, and BSU's budget this session in the Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee. That didn't happen. But that didn't stop Representative Nate from trying once again to derail the funding of Idaho's four public universities. Again, it didn't work. To cut to the chase, this year's budget, $338 million, a $25 million increase over last year's budget, which is probably one of the largest single-year increases in state history. It passed the House 46-22. Now back to the chase. JFAC co-chair Representative Paul Amador from Coeur d'Alene, anticipating pushback from certain members of the House, he threw up a little preemptive budget rampart with regards to these social justice indoctrination questions of our four-year institutions.
I can report to you that multiple institutions conducted independent investigations looking into indoctrination on the campuses. There was also a state board survey that was sent out to all students in the state that are attending our higher education institutions, asking about their experiences in the climate and if they felt like they were intimidated on campus. And overwhelmingly, those results came back that students felt safe and respected and valued for their opinions on campus.
And Amador said he felt pretty good about Idaho's universities abiding by the guidelines put in place by last year's House Bill 377. That was the bill outlawing teaching or promotion of the tenets of critical race theory. That they were teaching students how to think and not what to think is how Representative Amador put it today. Representative Nate and a few others weren't buying it, though.
They spent money to get a law firm to give them the answers they want that this doesn't exist on campuses. It took me about 5 minutes on the internet to figure out this existing at the university that hired those attorneys.
My comments are based on our continuing funding of an institution, or institutions, I should say, which insist on peddling an ideology repugnant to the American traditional values.
So 5 minutes on the internet? Well, okay. Representative Barbieri has evidence of schools thumbing their noses at the legislature and their control of the purse strings. He then went on to read from a supposed selection of Boise State job posting requirements.
Boise State, a clinical assistant professor of civil engineering must have one-page statement on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Assistant professor of cell, molecular, and development biology has to have evidence of a commitment to create a diverse and inclusive work environment, a description of how the candidate research programs and teaching philosophy would address BSU's diversity and inclusion goals.
I'm reading that information, which he obviously read from an email from an outfit that we know who it is. I was going to ask the good gentleman if he's actually attended any of these classes to know if any of that information that he just quoted was factual.
An outfit, we know who it is. You can see our four-part series on the Idaho Freedom Foundation to get to know who that is. But Barbieri didn't want to answer that question or pretty much any question from any other member of the House. However, Representative Megan Blanksma used that question from Representative Youngblood to point out the presidents of Idaho's 4 public universities had co-signed a letter to the legislators, reaffirming their commitment to follow the rules and guidelines set forth by the legislature last year. Again, see House Bill 377, now the amended State Code 33138. There was another thing the 4 presidents put in that letter.
We can say a lot of things. I think the best way that we understand what's going on at the universities is to visit the universities. And you'll notice in this letter, they give you that opportunity. If you really want to see whether critical race theory or whatever issue is being taught at your universities, they've given you an invitation to walk in the door. They've given you an opportunity to go take a look for yourself, and I would say that's the best thing you can do.
Like better than 5 minutes on the internet, right? Well, the House did the best thing it could do when it comes to funding higher education in Idaho by sending the budget over to the Senate 46-22.